On August 9th at 2:30 p.m., HMS Churchill embarked on a mission to intercept and study a comet named after Dr. Edmund Halley, carrying a joint British-American space team. Notably, the spacecraft boasts the Nerva engine, offering continuous acceleration for prolonged space travel with Earth-like gravity. As the Churchill approaches the comet, a scan detects a mysterious 150-mile-long object within the comet's tail. Colonel Tom Carlsen, the captain, orders a message for guidance, but communication is disrupted by the comet's interference. At this pivotal juncture, Roger Darabridge, the second in command, consults the captain for a choice. They decide to investigate the enigmatic object, understanding it as a unique chance that won't recur for another 74 years. Proceeding towards the object, the crew of the Churchill ventures into space. Entering through an oddly organic port, they sense a strange familiarity, as if they've been inside before. Within, they find numerous bat-like creatures, all motionless, sparking curiosity and speculation among the crew.
It's completely desiccated.
On the Churchill, the crew observes a separate structure unfolding, casting a shadow over the ship. They seize one bat-like creature for study and venture down a well-lit passageway. Inside, they encounter 3 preserved human bodies, stirring unease and puzzlement. Despite the confusion, they decide to bring all 3 back to the ship. Then it turns out to be Earth 30 days later. Dr. Bukowski, overseeing the Churchill mission, realizes the ship has lost radio contact and is on autopilot. They dispatch the Columbia to retrieve the Churchill. Upon arrival, the Columbia team discovers the Churchill ablaze, its crew charred on the main deck. Remarkably, the 3 humanoids are unscathed and return to Earth. At the Space Research Center, it's disclosed that the containers holding the humanoids had opened. Dr. Falada is introduced as a researcher who brings the female humanoid into the room. Upon his touch, she awakens and sits up unexpectedly. Witnessing this on camera in his office, Bukowski hurries to the place. The woman removes the researcher's mask and surprises everyone by kissing him, and upon Bukowski's arrival, he collapses lifeless and depleted into Bukowski's arms. The woman then moves closer to Bukowski, advising him to utilize her body before moving in for a kiss, then turns to Dr. Falada hurrying into the room with a team of researchers. Bukowski recounts the incident to them and alerts security to locate the unclothed woman. They discover her in the main lobby, but as they approach, she incapacitates the men without physical contact. Just before Falada arrives, the woman leaves the research facility. A man named Colonel 𝐀𝐻N appears, offering his expertise as a security specialist to assist in the situation. They brief Colonel 𝐀𝐻N on the events that transpired, and Bukowski appears to be notably fatigued. 𝐀𝐻N and Falada have a conversation, during which Falada's deep interest in death and life after death becomes apparent. He speculates that the woman might hold insights into the mysteries of death, viewing her as a kind of vampire who absorbs energy and vitality from her victims, akin to how vampires drink blood. Meanwhile, on a lower level of the facility, the 2 male humanoids suddenly awaken. When they come under fire, the bullets hit them but fail to impede their progress. The guards deploy a grenade against the vampires, appearing to be effective. Upon hearing the disturbance, 𝐀𝐻N and Falada hasten to the lower levels, only to discover the burnt remains of the 2 vampire-like beings. Subsequently, we witness the autopsy of the guard who was previously drained. Just as the surgeon is about to make an incision, the man's eyes suddenly spring open. The surgeon becomes strangely fixated and moves closer to the guard. As they draw near, sparks of lightning crackle between them, and the guard absorbs the doctor's life force, rejuvenating himself entirely. Subsequently, the guard is sedated and confined in an isolation cell. 𝐀𝐻N receives a report of a deceased girl in a nearby park. Upon arrival, they discover a different victim, completely drained, distinct from the vampire encountered earlier. Returning to the revitalized guard, it is revealed that the vampires must feed every 2 hours to maintain their restored state, otherwise they will revert to a drained condition. Additionally, the previously deceased doctor reanimates but disintegrates upon rushing to the bars. The girl regains consciousness and thrashes about on the hospital bed, but as she fails to receive any life force, the outcome remains uncertain. Soon after, she also disintegrates into dust. A communication comes in indicating a possible discovery of 𝐀𝐻𝐭's escape pod. A team of soldiers approaches the pod, and upon opening it, they find Captain Carlsen alive and in good health. Return to the research station for debriefing alongside Bukowski, Folletta, and Kane. A flashback unfolds, revealing the events aboard the 𝐀𝐻𝐭. One by one, the crew members start exhibiting peculiar behavior, such as tampering with the ship's communication system, before ultimately being found completely drained of life. The exact circumstances of their demise remain a mystery, but eventually, only Carlsen remains. He experiences a lapse in consciousness and awakens to find the ship hovering just above Earth. Realizing the danger posed by the humanoids, Carlsen takes extreme action. He initiates a fire on the ship in an attempt to eradicate all evidence before escaping in the pod. Later that evening, news arrives concerning an object departing from the comet, the same one boarded by the 𝐀𝐻𝐭, scheduled to reach Earth within 2 days. Carlsen then dreams of an intimate encounter with the female humanoid, culminating in a draining experience. The group rushes in, but he struggles to recall the specifics of the dream. He notes a peculiar mental link with the woman, yet his memories seem inaccessible in her presence. Folletta proposes hypnotizing Carlsen to explore this connection further. Under hypnosis, they trace the woman, revealing a distinct change in her appearance, signaling the vampire's possession of a new host. The woman seeks a man to sustain her without fatal consequences, aiming to harness him as a perpetual life force. Though Carlsen glimpses the man's license plate, the overwhelming connection disrupts the hypnosis. Pondering the whereabouts of the vampire's original body, they speculate on exploiting it as a potential weakness. Eventually, they locate the man from Carlsen's vision, discovering he had delivered the woman to a mental institution. Here, they encounter Dr. Armstrong, the hospital's director, who leads them to the woman's estate where she regards Carlsen knowingly. After a period of time, Carlsen and the woman share a kiss, indicating he achieved his desired outcome. He relays a mental vision of a new individual to Dr. Armstrong, who discloses that the person is a patient at the facility and has displayed troublesome behavior. Initially resistant to allowing them to interview his patient, Armstrong relents after their credentials are presented. It is then decided that they will hypnotize the man. Upon entering the room, Carlsen unexpectedly seizes Armstrong, prompting Kane to inject him with a sedative. Armstrong cries out before succumbing to the drug, collapsing to the floor. Carlsen senses that the vampire currently resides within Armstrong and is now trapped in his mind due to the sedation. During their interrogation, the patient appears distressed, mentioning that the entity within his mind is attempting to hinder communication with them. Abruptly, the patient's voice shifts to that of the vampires. It is revealed that this creature possesses the ability to alter its form and infiltrate the minds of its victims. As 𝐀𝐻𝐭 neared, these beings transformed into humanoid shapes based on the mental images provided by the crewmates. She awakens and draws Carlsen towards her. Despite his attempts to resist, his resolve falters, and in a fleeting moment, his lips meet with Dr. Armstrong's. The resulting impact sends the others reeling as the sky ignites with electricity. A gust of wind sweeps through the room, but Kane manages to rise and swiftly administers more sedative to the doctor. During their return, Folletta contacts them, revealing that the 2 male vampires did not truly perish. They had assumed the guise of the soldiers who had shot them before going undercover for a time. Folletta explains that he managed to eliminate one by driving an iron stake into a specific area just below the heart. Transforming into the female vampire's likeness, she emits a piercing scream before reverting to a liquid state, regaining consciousness in her original form. Carlsen and 𝐀𝐻 make their way to the Prime Minister's office, where they witness the Prime Minister draining his assistant's life force, prompting their swift departure. Eager to return to the research center, they find the city under martial law, compelling them to land behind military defenses. Conversing with the colonel, they learn of plans to potentially nuke the city due to the escalating crisis. While the vampire ship looms ominously over London in a locked orbit, a blue light draws toward the ship, signifying the capture of human soul's energy. Carlsen recognizes the female vampire as the conduit responsible for converting these souls, necessitating passage through her to reach the ship. While 𝐀𝐻 steps away to confer with the colonel, Carlsen seizes a car and departs. 𝐀𝐻 swiftly procures another vehicle, giving chase, aware that Carlsen is likely heading straight to the female vampire. Navigating through the tumultuous streets, 𝐀𝐻 plows through vampires, offering a stark view of London's dire situation. Meanwhile, Carlsen reaches a cathedral, continuously drawn by the vampire's call. Upon entering, he encounters a luminous blue glow and moves toward it. Losing sight of Carlsen, 𝐀𝐻 seeks out Follett's office, where he discovers the doctor alive alongside the vampire's body. Evading questions about his survival, the doctor cryptically hints at a revelation about life beyond death. Sensing Carlsen and the female vampire's presence in the cathedral crypts, the doctor's demeanor takes a sinister turn. As he approaches 𝐀𝐻, the doctor is shot in the chest by the latter. With a smile, the doctor collapses, his essence soaring skyward. 𝐀𝐻 seizes the iron stake from the vampire's lifeless form and advances toward the cathedral. Inside, Carlsen encounters the female vampire, who appeals for his companionship, urging him to merge their energies as fate intended. On foot now, 𝐀𝐻 navigates the chaotic London streets, pursued by a relentless horde, but manages to outmaneuver them by using collapsing debris to his advantage. Upon reaching the cathedral, 𝐀𝐻 confronts the last male vampire, who stands motionless in a T-pose. Swiftly, 𝐀𝐻 charges and impales the vampire with the iron stake. The vampire undergoes a sudden transformation into a bat-like creature before erupting into a charred remnant. Peering into the crypts, 𝐀𝐻 witnesses Carlsen and the female vampire merging their energies. The female vampire reveals that Carlsen shares her nature, explaining his profound attraction to her. Calling out to Carlsen, 𝐀𝐻 watches as Carlsen reaches towards the sky. Dropping the stake to him, Carlsen uses it to pierce through both the female vampire and himself. In a blinding explosion of light, they transcend into the vampire ship, which then drifts away, now lacking a conduit on Earth. Did this story spook you out? Let us know in the comments below. For more horror movie recaps, subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next one. Fear awaits you.